call the meeting to order at 6:30. Recognize the empty chairs over there. And our new
Well,
filmer.
my chair is only virtually empty.
No, I'm looking, Veranda, I'm looking at the audience.
Audience.
And I would like to say that Veranda Porsche is joining us by telephone for this evening's meeting. The new addition to the agenda this evening is that we will go into executive session. Are there any changes to the agenda order? Hearing none. I would entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of June 12th, 2017.
So moved.
Gabby?
Second.
Gordon is seconding. Is there any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So do I get to sign at the next meeting, or can somebody sign for me?
I believe you can sign.
You can
when
sign
You
when
can
you
just
get
stop
back.
in the office when you get
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
Yeah.
For new business, the first item on our agenda is the Windham County Humane Society contract, which we all had a chance to read in the materials for this weekend. And Peter, do you want to talk us through this?
Yep. So this is something that we receive annually, usually around this time of year. Last year there was a little bit of confusion because they, at the last minute, the Windham County Humane Society raised the fees prior to our notification of it, and that was prior to us budgeting for that amount, and so they allowed us to pay the previous year's fees and notified us last fall during our budget process that the new fees would be applicable this year, and it's not unique to Guilford. We pay the same fee that any other towns pay, with a couple of minor exceptions for other towns that pay.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I just stopped hearing what you were saying.
Oh, so I'm just informing people of the Windham County Humane Society contract.
Yes.
There's nothing major as far as substantive changes to the contract. And yeah, pretty
I'm
clear.
looking for it on our budget to make sure we put that in, that amount in our budget. And Pound Keeper,
It is separate from the Pound Keeper.
veterinary services, boarding fees, so we don't have it in here.
It's part of the general budget. We don't have a specific line item for it that I remember from last year.
We should.
We should, it should either be in public services or
Right.
annual.
I know we've talked about it
Yeah.
before. Specifically because I believe last year it went up.
That's correct. That's what the
And-
whole situation was.
And I thought when we were creating buckets for all the expenses that we had one.
Yeah, I think it needs to be in annual services to the town
Okay.
going forward.
We can certainly add that in.
I don't see it on our budget, so we may be.
Okay.
At any rate, I think it's something that they were generous to us last year, and we definitely owe them, we definitely use their services, so.
That is correct.
So,
We certainly get more than we pay for.
do I hear a motion? Is there any more discussion? Sorry. Could I
No.
have a motion to approve the contract for animal holding for Windham County Humane Society?
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Veranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then just,
Excuse me. And the second thing is the extra town generator, which Peter will also
just one
walk
moment.
us through.
So,
Well, I can show you all a picture of it while he's typing away. 1,
okay, so
2.
last year, so the town currently has an unused generator that is sitting over at the town garage. And through a whole host of things, Sheila had asked me to look into what it would take to see whether or not it was working or not working, what the state of it was in. Long story short, it took 7 months to get a response from the company to come and take a look at it. They finally did come out and take a look at it, and unfortunately, because we don't have an easily accessible diesel source at the generator, they were not able to see if it was even working. Based on the visible condition of it, the two service technicians that were out would guess that it is working, but they don't want to make any confirmation. One of the things that I had heard that had been discussed is the potential for putting a generator here at the town office in the event of something like Irene or some other natural disaster in which large portions of the town lose power, to attend to those needs. I did not ask them for the proposal, but they did. After the technicians went back to the office, the owner of the company put together a proposal and sent out a proposal with a couple of options for generators that would be more suitable to the town office.
So backing up, is this the generator that came from the fire station or something?
No, that
No?
that generator that's over there now came from WTSA, I believe they upgraded.
Oh, okay.
It was something the boys from the fire department got through emergency management, if I believe. That's just like the generator we have now in the garage. That came, it's an old one, I mean, that's only a 15 kW. But that's how we got that one, they had it. They didn't have any more use for it, so we ended up getting it. And that's
How
why-
long ago?
And that's why, this one here
we
that we have
acquired this one.
is a 25 kW, and it's been over there probably a little over a year.
So we've never had it hooked up.
No,
It's never been hooked
it's
up.
propane.
I
Right?
think it's
No, it's
longer than
diesel.
a
It
year.
was diesel.
It is
Okay.
diesel.
Somebody said it was on propane. So
It's got to be. Well, I don't
The
remember
two,
this
the two
coming up last
technicians
year.
said it's
Yeah, it did.
diesel. They opened it up, took a look at it. There, by the way, just so you guys are aware, there's a hornet's nest inside it. Just
Yeah.
so you and the guys are aware of that. It's 17 years old. Does not have a lot of hours on it. However, it produces more electricity than is at the line out here behind the.
So we had
Cannabis.
we had discussed the two possibilities. One is that we would have a generator here, because this is our second emergency office
Yep.
operation center, and the other was that we would donate it to the school.
Yeah.
Can we just
Well,
have a
so the-
mini discussion about that? Because I know the school doesn't have one, and we were hustling at town meeting in 2016. Yes.
Does the school have a ready source of diesel?
no.
No, I mean,
They'd have to put it.
you'd have to figure that out, but I mean, I don't know that it makes sense, but we have this quote asset
Yes, yes.
we're trying to figure out if we need to, if it's usable, and if it is, where should it go, if it should go anywhere.
Yeah, so the technicians that were here and then through the office made one of two recommendations for the town with it. Both of which involve getting some form of fuel source there before they can actually assess what the cost would be to get it running again. One option would be to get it running again and then donate it to the school so they have a source in the event of a power outage, like it happened at town meeting one year, as well as in other future events, as it is also one of our shelters for the town.
Right.
The other option would be to get it working again and sell it. They said that they would happily assist us in finding somebody to take it. They said it should not, because of its condition, despite its age, that we should get a decent amount for it.
We might break even?
Oh yeah,
They
they,
for nothing.
yeah.
No, but to
No, but
repair it
fixing
is
it
like
up.
for
I don't think
that-
35.
What I'm
Okay.
hearing, it doesn't sound like
Yeah.
there's a lot that needs to
Yeah.
be done.
No,
Other
but-
than
that was-
if it's, as long as the engine's not frozen or something.
Yeah.
Jared was the one that got it from the
Yeah.
fire department. So
Yeah.
But they're talking about $5,000 to install it and
A new one.
The new one.
Oh,
That's
that's
a
a new
brand
one?
new
That's
one.
for a
That's
brand new one.
accepting the transfer switches that are
Oh.
over there, which is a
Yeah.
big part
Like
of.
that's-
So the two transfer switches are technically too small for that
Okay.
generator, which they thought was interesting that they were
They
sent
had it.
along with it. Those transfer switches could be potentially used here at the town office if we
Right.
wanted to install one. But yeah,
Can I, so, in just, and I'm fairly new to all this, but we've set up, the fire station is now 100%. Emergency Management Center, they've got a generator to run.
yes.
We run off the
How
fire.
important is it that we have a generator here from the people who have been here longer, Gabby and Sheila? I mean, from your
So
perspective.
far, we've not, in my experience, and you can,
Or
you
Dan.
know,
Well, I
longer,
mean,
but
talk
we
to
haven't used the office.
This morning when I was here, we had a power surge.
Yeah, we did.
Power went out. Of course, Penny was just booting everything up, so I mean, something like that, it would come in pretty handy to have a power supply here.
And it certainly would come in handy at the school.
Well,
'Cause they have
and-
a really
To me, the
tiny little-
priority
I
in
don't
looking
know
at
if it
it,
would be big enough to run the school.
it might be big enough to run enough
Yeah.
things. What is it, 25?
It's a 25.
It's a 25
They could
kW.
run it.
Trouble is, they're putting in all their new boilers and stuff, so I
Yeah.
don't know what they're gonna be using for.
Yeah.
Do we have an idea of how much money it would cost just to figure out whether it's up and running, like to get diesel to it?
We could hook a plastic gas can
Yeah, it
as a
shouldn't take- it
supply
shouldn't take
to
much.
see if it runs. That,
Okay,
you know, it's. I think that's being overstated personally.
okay.
I may be wrong. I don't know what code is.
I
But
do
to
not
run
know.
the engine, you should be able to just put a diesel line into it without putting
So,
a tank.
if this is something that you as a select board want me to look further into as far as the town office, obviously because of the cost of it, we would need to find at least two other sources. Because it's over $2,500, we'd need to inquire with at least two other companies.
You're talking about a new one.
That's correct.
Well, I think
A
we
new
should
one or
figure
an
out
old
what we're
one?
gonna do with the old one first.
Yeah.
And then move forward on considering.
I mean, I think it's
Do
two
we
separate
want to
conversations.
ask Troy Rivas his opinion about the generator and the school?
I think it'd be a good starting point. If
I think
if
there are a
it's-
number of things. Can we use it? Is it worth it? Who can best use it? Do we need one at the town office?
Well, and I think if the town, I mean, we're spending so much time and effort and money for emergency management. I think that if this is our secondary location, then it makes sense. And if there's emergency management money,
We actually have
To-
that. Yeah, it's a reimbursable. It's in the budget. It's a generator, or
Okay.
you know, or maintenance of the generator. I can't remember exactly, but we can look at that aspect of it as well. And
No, that would be
yeah,
ideal.
yeah.
So what would you like for action items regarding this then?
is it usable? Where should it be used? Is it how much of an expense for a new or a repaired one would be covered by the emergency reimbursement grant?
Using
Does the
this
school-
as a secondary.
And would the school benefit from using it? And how much would it cost the school to get it up and running? And does the town want to consider donating at least part of that to the school? Any other?
No, I think that's all good. Do we need to determine whether we're gonna look at one before the other or no?
Yeah, so these, at least I see this as two different
Yeah.
topics. One
Well-
is the existing generator, and one is whether or not you want a new generator for this facility, or a used one for this facility.
Can we just find, can we take step one and maybe
Yeah.
have a report next meeting about whether or not it's even viable? Whether, you know, is this old one repairable and at what cost?
Yeah.
So then should I work with Dan about getting access to some diesel?
I got a 100-gallon fuel tank right in the back of the one of the dump, or in the 1-ton. They could,
I mean, don't you think we should be
Yeah.
able to determine whether, you
yeah,
know,
once they get it fired up, I mean,
right?
I'm sure it's a suction line. You
Right.
just stick it in a
The tank.
tank and, you know, let it draw.
Okay. So then,
I mean, that's no.
And also, last thing is to thank Brookfield for getting the information to us and helping us move forward on this.
I already sent them an email doing
I'm
so.
sure you did. Thank you.
So
No,
I
that
was,
was very good.
so I will contact them again about, because about having a repair technician come out and then get some assistance from Danny to get it connected to the fuel tank.
Thanks. There is no old business on our agenda tonight, and the first discussion update is the Living Communities Challenge update. And there will be a lot to put into the minutes because I think this is an important area that we're working on. And also it's sort of been in the background of what's going on in the town, but it's in Algiers Village. So I wanted to just bring everybody up to speed on what's happening and what it is, and then we'll put detailed notes into the minutes so that anybody can refer to it. We began meeting in 2017. We is a group of 4 nonprofits in Algiers Village: Guilford Preservation Inc., Friends of Algiers Village, CC4G, and the church. And we were brought together at the suggestion of Windham Regional Commission, Susan McMahon, and Building Green, to see whether or not there was interest among these 4 groups to create a letter of intent to this Living Communities Challenge group, a letter of interest to get a planning grant, to see if we would be considered as a rural Living Communities Challenge applicant. We were accepted into this, and we are at this point the first rural community in the country to be accepted in the program, which means we now go through a visioning process and look at whether or not we can begin to create a master plan for Algiers Village that involves these 4 nonprofits. I'm on this group as a result of being a board member of Friends of Algiers Village and also trying to straddle a select board member representing the larger Guilford community. The challenge addresses the question, how do we create communities that are good for everyone? And so it's organized and looks at 7 essential areas: place, water, energy, health and happiness, materials, equity, and beauty. And the goal of being part of this challenge is to have living communities that are nurturing and generous places that promote healthy lifestyles for everyone, are net positive with respect to water and energy, generating their own energy and capturing and treating all the water needed, and create a positive impact on the human and natural systems that interact with them. And all of this can be found on the Living Community Challenge website. So each of the nonprofit partners has its own individual goals, and then they share a set of goals that establish sort of a common ground among these organizations. And our work to date has been to see if this common ground will allow us to find a direction for the visioning process to work on together. So right now, it seems like our overall project goals are controlled development, community well-being, social and economic equity, and environmental stewardship. To date, so I can't remember, the first meeting was late winter, early spring. We've reviewed in the area natural resources, access and circulation, buildings and inventory, community businesses and services, and political boundaries. And we've also completed a SWOT, the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats inventory, from which our advisors, who are Susan McMahon and Emily Davis of Windham Regional Commission and Candace Pearson from Building Green, they helped us compile a set of SWOT strategies which address economic vitality, community service, and ecological health. The next steps are that we'll have a community meeting, a broader Algiers Village and Guilford, if people are interested in meeting to review and comment, and to sort of have a facilitated discussion that would talk about much of what we've done so far and make sure we haven't missed anything, that that we invite input and criticism and further engagement. We don't have a date, but it's probably going to be around mid-October, maybe after the bridge opens, hopefully after the bridge opens. And then after that, we would integrate takeaways from the community, complete a vision plan, and see if it's sufficient to qualify Algiers Village for the Living Communities Challenge master plan process. If we get that far, and if we actually qualify, the benefits are that the Algiers Village would have major opportunities for large funding grants to support the community work and the economic development of these nonprofits. And we would also get probably national and international focus on the leadership role that Algiers Village and Guilford by extension takes, which could result in increased visits, tourism, economic growth of the community at large. And they also anticipate that there will be spillover benefits, if we get that far, to the larger community of Guilford. So is it a done deal? No, it's a vision that could come to fruition over several years that we hope, if we are successful, will bring a fair amount of money into the community. So that's my update, and it will all be in the minutes if people, and there are websites that people can look at too.
I think that's great. Is someone from the planning commission involved?
The next step is planning commission, to involve planning commission and then the larger Algiers Village or Guilford community, whoever wants to come to the meeting. Up until now, it was just to see if we could get the 4 nonprofits to work together towards common goals, or to figure out common goals, and then clearly the planning commission is A, interested, and B, critical to this process. So yeah.
Is there a geographical, boundaries to what is within Algiers Village?
So yes, but it's not fixed. There's the Algiers Village Historic Center, and then there are larger areas that are, the boundaries are right now very flexible, and
I see.
there's no physical boundary to Algiers Village that I am aware of, that anybody's found.
Is there a particular boundary for this living community?
It actually, we can determine it. So we've been looking at the property owned by GPI, Guilford Preservation Inc. and Friends of Algiers Village, and how far south do we want to go, be south of the bridge, do we, commercial things or just residential? It probably extends to the fire department and the Windham Housing Trust units, and then the wetlands behind the church, and I don't think it goes over to 91, but.
And then, let's see, is it Partridge Road that goes
Yes.
up to where there used to be a trailer park, or is
Yes.
it still?
There is a trailer park that is closing in May, I think, of next year. It's 11.8 acres, I think, and most of it is deep hill with a ledge with 3 trailers that still have residents in them, and we don't know what is going to happen to those residents next year. But I think that the owner of the trailer park is obliged to keep that accessible to them for 5 years after it's closed. Don't hold me to that, but I think they have. So
It's just sort of an interesting little hidden corner.
it is, and I'll tell you that
So,
people have looked at it.
in terms of a living communities challenge, I mean, I don't need to talk a lot about it now. It's just, it always strikes me how far out it was in terms of Guilford as a whole, and, the well-being of the people there just when I visited.
Right, and we don't know enough about what's happening next year or what the property owner wants to do with the property. But I think if this whole thing proceeds, there will be discussion either with the property owner or just looking at that property. But casual observation of it indicates that it's not really buildable. Danny's shaking his head too.
They've always had septic system problems
Yeah.
here, and water.
Yeah,
I don't know if did the water line, sewer line go in there?
I don't know,
When
Danny. I'll hope to find that out soon.
I can't remember if it did.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Good report.
Thank you. Veranda, you're on for Recreation Commission update?
Yes, and so was this just an update about the Living Communities Challenge? We don't need to say, oh, that sounds great, or take any action?
Right, on the agenda, these are just our discussions and updates, and it's just there's no action by the select board. I just thought it was time to bring a
No,
report.
that's great. Okay, so my Recreation Commission update is that I have had no communication back from the people on the Rec Commission, though I emailed probably twice about their recommendations for a new a new commissioner. I just haven't heard back. And there was another matter that Peter and I had discussed that I also emailed them about. And so communication has been an issue.
It's one way.
And I intend to go to their next meeting and just try to catch up with them.
Thank you.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you.
And I think sometimes, Verinda, just for your knowledge, like seats sit vacant for a while on the commissions while they look for the appropriate person. So
Yeah, I mean, they.
No, I think it's been an uphill climb for them to find people who will be there and follow through. It's not like, it's not like I think that they're holding out. I think they're.
I'm just surprised no one's reached out to you after you've reached out to them
Well,
to just get an update on
In all
it.
fairness, they did advise Peter and me, I think, that they were short a commissioner, that a commissioner had resigned.
Right.
And
You
they
shared
did that
that.
expecting that we would then appoint somebody. And the message to them was,
Right.
please let us know who's interested or who you might want to have on the board. And then we'll
I got you.
consider that and act on it as we do with the other commissions.
I think that because they're a new commission, they don't really understand the
Excuse
process.
me.
Easy to happen.
Now, can I just ask, what was we talked about 2 issues, what was the second?
Just financial
Okay.
responsibility.
Yes.
Just trying to
Well,
update.
it was about just financial communication.
Thank you, Veranda. Any more questions on that?
Nope.
So I think I'm next, and that's with the Route 5 bridge update. I just wanted to say that, as usual, the latest news is on our Guilford website, on Front Porch Forum. I haven't looked at Facebook today, but often the fire department will post meetings, and also on the VTrans website, which is going to be again in the minutes this week.
I did get an email from Jill that it's not gonna close until the 12th.
Yes,
Yep,
that's my next thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
The bridge will not.
I didn't know if you knew it.
Yeah, no, so I went to the emergency meeting last week, the pre-closure meeting. The bridge will not close until the 12th instead of it was scheduled to close on the 10th. Now it will close on the 12th, and the primary reason for that is last Monday's bad weather. It will reopen within 28 days, and I wanted to acknowledge that the different agencies and groups have cooperated to ensure there will be adequate emergency responder access to residents south of the bridge, and for emergency responders who live south of the bridge to get quickly to the fire department. And we've also tried to make a point that asking that please be respectful of the workers who are working 6 long days each week to complete the bridge on time. And I will tell you that I am saying that, and I brought this up at the last meeting and asked Jill to say that in the communication because of what I've heard from your crew about people being disrespectful and angry sometimes at road closures and things like that. So I think it's, this is something that this community needs. You guys do good work, they're doing good work, and we need to be respectful of people who do that work.
I
So,
don't even working Sunday.
You were.
no.
Can I ask, has mutual aid been make sure mutual aid's been notified, so like Rescue Inc. and
Everybody's been
Everybody's
involved.
been
Vernon,
notified, so
all
we're-
the fire departments, Rescue Inc., people have
Bernardston.
Okay,
brought
'cause-
their trucks on the emergency and access, the ladder trucks and the ambulances, and they've noticed that one of the gates was, instead of being 16 feet in width, is only 12. So that's been addressed. So people are really being very careful and very conscientious about this.
That's
It's
right.
very impressive. Okay. And then CC for G grant process. Do you want me to take notes while you talk about this, or have you got it all in your?
No, it's probably, unless there's extensive discussion, it may not even take 10 minutes.
Okay.
But earlier this winter, the town was a recipient of a grant that it had applied for in partnership with the Community Collaborative for Guilford. It was a planning grant, which is, they are actively working on it. Because it is a community development block grant, the state has a few requirements for the town due to a finding on the FY13 single audit. which was around federal funds that the town received during that fiscal year. So with this, and then in addition to that, Ellie and I have been working to put together all the required documents to meet those requirements from the state. And a number of us had a question that arose, wondering whether or not Ellie, in her role as an employee of the town, or as the assistant town
Treasurer.
clerk, she's not the treasurer yet.
Assistant.
She's
Yeah.
currently only the assistant town clerk. She's still in training to become the assistant treasurer. But she's also the executive director of the community collaborative for Guilford. And due to some of the requirements that the state has, the reporting requirements that the state has, she would need to be involved here in her role in the town office to satisfy certain portions of this grant. And there was a concern that it could be a conflict of interest between her two roles. So I've had a couple of really great conversations with a woman at the state who's helping us manage this whole process. That she's been very friendly and helpful, and they want to see us succeed in this. And so she was very appreciative that we called and asked that question. And in the eyes of the state, it is considered a conflict of interest. So for the any invoices that the town receives, because it's a reimbursement grant, so the select board made a motion back in February that the town would cover the expenses for CC4G and then be reimbursed through this grant. The town has incurred a few small expenses at this time, nothing substantive, and with that, the state has informed us that Ellie cannot be a part of any portion of the process. She can't process invoices. She can't add things into our accounting system. She can't process warrants. She can't have her hand on any of the steps. So those of us who work in the office, Ellie, Pete, Penny, and myself all had a meeting today to try and figure out what we can do to work around this issue, as Pete is dramatically cutting back on his hours as he's getting ready for retirement. And I think that we came to a satisfactory decision amongst all of us. So for this situation, for anything relating to the grant and CC4G, Pete will process all of those invoices. Pete will also help along with Penny in the processing of reimbursements from the grant. And so we're going to process those as a separate warrant. So when it comes to you as a select board, you will have the regular payroll warrants, you have the regular general warrant, and then there'll be a separate one for this. And what we're going to do is, to make things easy, we're going to do it only once a month, because we're not going to, it's a small planning grant, so we're not going to be getting a lot of invoices. There's in fact only two people we're going to be getting invoices from, which is the designer and the consultants. They're going to be easy. Both of those will be have already expressed their flexibility in when they get paid. So I think we've come to a solution that works for everyone, and just wanted to bring the board up to date where this situation sat, since it's been a number of months since you guys have heard anything about the grant.
Thank you.
And is the state satisfied that sort of Chinese wall is sufficient for their?
We will find that out. So Ellie and I need to finish preparing the documents to submit, and then we actually won't even submit the documents. Isaac Wagner will actually submit them on our behalf to the state, and then it will likely, the way it has been going, it'll probably take 2 weeks before we get a response from the state as to whether or not they're satisfied with that.
Has someone checked with our accountants as to whether that they were,
We did,
Okay.
and so this is in alignment
not our
with
accountants, I'm sorry, our auditors.
auditors. Yes, yes, I didn't mean.
Sorry.
Yeah. We did check with someone from Mudgett, and everything we are doing is in alignment with things that they have approved in the past, and so we're not deviating from anything that they have recommended.
And can I ask you one more? Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Full questions tonight. You mentioned something about an issue with our FY13.
Yeah.
audit?
Yep.
Can I ask you what that was and if we fixed it?
Yes, so for FY13, due to the amount of federal monies the town received, it triggered a single audit.
Mhm.
And with that single audit, and it's already been cleared, the state has approved this was back in the calendar year of 2014. The state approved, so let me back up 2 seconds. To answer the first part of your question is, with the single audit, it was found that 3 federal grants the town received were incorrectly noted for the wrong fiscal year as monies received. And so that was caught in the audit. And so the select board at that time took actions to remedy the situation that was approved by the state at that time. The one caveat with that is now, and those 3 grants that were received were all community development block grants. So from that point forward, now any time the town receives a CDBG grant, we have to resubmit documentation to the state, which proves each step of our process from receiving an invoice to processing reimbursement. So this just happens to be the first CDBG grant that we've received since that finding. And so a number of us are new in the office, and so it's just a new process for us.
Thank you. And may we get many more.
That is the hope.
And then more single audits.
No. Dan, you are on for general highway update.
No,
You've been busy.
we've been busy, we've been grading roads, still grading roads. I got 5 or 6 more to do. I'm hoping to get them done this week. Last Monday, a week ago today, we got hammered with a lot of rain. We lost a good portion of the Carpenter Hill Road, a big culvert plugged up and took a good portion of the hill out. Center of Hunt Road, that has no place for the water to go, and every time you get a heavy rain, it just washes the ditch lines out. We had a spot on Tater Lane that washed up towards Fred Humphrey's driveway. Basically, most of them were just, there was so much water coming down the edge of the road, just washed ditches. You know, low deer. Well, anyways, I sat down this afternoon and did a little quick estimating. We were about $17,000 for damage. Just right as of last week. That ain't counting any work this week. So I got Megan from V-Trans coming out tomorrow. We're gonna go riding around looking, show her the spots that I got to fix up. Our threshold is $25,000. If we
Threshold that before we get reimbursed?
Yeah, if we
Yes.
make the 25,000, our portion's 10% of that, then we get the 90% from the state if we qualify. So she's coming out. We're gonna do do a little more estimating and go from there. And one of the things I am gonna have her do is the culvert on Carpenter Hill Road washed out is a 36-inch culvert. And the one that's down below it is a 72-inch culvert. So I'm gonna have them do a hydraulic study and replace it.
Yep.
But the biggest thing, the whole thing is setting right on ledge, so we may have to do some hammering and whatever if we even go to redo it. But the biggest thing, all the culverts, there was just so much water coming down to get one stick, and then just the leaves and just debris, and then of course there's a little dirt with it, and it was just a chain reaction, one boom, 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 all, you know. So when that's all we've been doing, we're still going around digging culverts out, and but we're working on Carpenter Hill, getting that shaped up. So
You've been working long hours, right?
no, just a little
Monday
bit last
for sure,
week.
yeah.
No, we're also on our regular time, but then I know I haven't done anything with the estimate.
No, I wanted to ask before you move on. I know you said your road was.
Yeah, Gordon's.
So because I didn't hear you mention that
Yeah.
one.
That
and I
Gordon's
know,
Road,
like-
we fixed that up Thursday. So
So is all of those like the way the,
We got
say,
every-
Melody Hill, the ditches are eroded, does it?
Your road's gonna get done well.
No, I know, I'm just wondering if it's, it's not about me. It's about,
We had a safety issue on our
no,
road
I know, I
that had
told
to
you.
be addressed.
No, it's so
But
not about me.
that's what a lot of the roads look like, just where it washed.
Right.
I mean,
So I'm wondering if that
even-
work contributes to the $25,000
It-
threshold.
it would.
And are
I mean,
you
it's-
taking pictures of all of those things?
I've been taking pictures of it.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
So
I know
I
you'll
did
get to the
email some
road.
pictures today of Carpenter Hill, the worst. Then I have a camera, my little electric,
Yeah.
my other camera that it takes the disc. So I get some pictures on that. So and plus I got measurements and stuff on different roads.
Okay,
So
I think you'll make your 25
Yeah.
pretty quick.
we'll see what happens, see what they consider,
Okay.
you know.
so you were then gonna say you haven't,
I haven't
yeah.
done much on the excavator, but you know, our backhoe is getting in rough shape. That thing is being used a lot.
We put it onto next year,
I know we did,
But you're
but
thinking-
I'm debating whether we should
do that first?
do the backhoe first. It's got a lot of hours on it.
Yeah.
I think that should be,
And
the
that-
excavator would be nice right now, but I think the backhoe is more important.
And that's more
Your
essential in incidents, weather like we've just had?
Yeah, I mean, you can road it, you know, with the excavator, you gotta have a trailer and you gotta, I mean, like right now where we're working, an excavator would be real nice.
Yeah.
Because you could sit right there in one spot and just, you know, you don't have to get monkeyed around the road to try to get things set up, so. But I think we should look at it.
Yeah.
How many hours do we have on the back?
That's over 10,000 hours on it. So, and
And your concern is more the
the
keeping that.
front bucket needs a lot of major work. The rear bucket needs to be all shimmed and
Yeah.
it's just
New pins
got
or
some
something.
slot. Yeah, it
Yeah.
needs to all be repinned, bushed, and it's starting to use oil. So I think we had
I
it.
think you might be smart
Yeah.
thinking the way you
So if we go into the assets sheet that we have in the budget, we had figured that for, I think for the next fiscal year,
It
but
was actually
we
it'd be-
can move them around
It would be this year.
this
budget.
2018?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
July.
Yeah,
it is, it was for
Pretty
2018.
soon.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be in this year's budget. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's so.
okay.
But I think we should get. I should get a price on. I already have a price on the Cat and the John Deere. Those are the only two machines, right?
Yeah,
For the excavator, you're saying, or the
No, for the
backhoe?
backhoe.
okay.
So I'd like to. That I'd probably get started on right away.
Okay, so you and Peter will work on that and
Yeah.
come up
I already have
Do
it
we
spec.
get to trade in the old one?
Yes,
Is it worth
I
anything?
don't really want to sell our other machine to somebody because we're going to run into problems. They're going to say you sold me a junk.
Right.
Let's trade it, get rid of it, not have it around.
So yes, that would be part of
Yeah.
the purchase deal.
Right, that's what I figured.
Thank you.
And that's basically tomorrow. I'll give you a heads up on what's going on. I'll let one of you guys know what's happening with Megan. So when she comes out to do our
Okay.
ride.
And
Good.
Peter?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Finance, Gabby, you're on.
I'll make a motion to pay the following payroll and warrants. Payroll for the week ending June 18th, 2017, in the amount of $6,467.16. Payroll for the week ending June 25th, 2017, in the amount of $8,302.39, and expense warrant 1724, in the amount of $47,951.77, for a grand total of payroll and warrants $62,721.32. A lot of nothing really huge that stands out. A lot of little expenses that added up. Emergency management, $4,000. VLCT dues around $3,400. Reappraisal invoice for $3,500.
You sent it.
Never mind. Okay.
I will second.
Gordon seconds.
Thanks, Gordon.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gabby, thank you for your usual careful eye on this at night. I really appreciate it. Communications, Peter.
Yes, we've got two brief communications. One is I received a phone call from a resident, I don't know where the resident lives, but that apparently there is a large patch of giant hogweed over on Green River Road, and this resident wanted to request the town to put up signs notifying others of the giant hogweed because it is apparently a serious skin irritant, and in people who are unwell or young, particularly the young and elderly, it can cause potentially blindness and or death in severe cases.
What's it called again?
Giant hogweed.
Hogweed. Huh?
That's
And
what
so-
it does to you right there. It burns your skin.
Yeah, so
Is
if you
it
break it
different
down,
than
like it
It's the
pigs.
juice.
One minute, hang on,
Metals?
Veranda, wait 1 minute, please.
Is
Danny?
it?
It's the juice. It's the plant's hollow inside, and it's got like a sap.
Yeah,
So if you weed whack and you get it on, it'll even go through your clothes. And what it is, it's like
I think it's an acid. I think
yeah, it
it's
is
when
because it
reacts-
will burn you because you will get burned.
Is that different than stinging nettles?
Yes,
It's
a
very
lot
different.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, it's got a big. Oh, the leaves are huge, and there's a big. It's going to seed right now.
Yeah.
It's a big yellow
seed
plant on top of
Yeah.
it.
Veranda,
Yeah?
you wanted to ask something or say something?
No, I just couldn't hear exactly what the name of it was.
Giant hogweed.
Hog, as in pig.
That's correct.
That kind of hog.
So she did. The caller did let me know she's not requesting anything from the town, but her husband and grandchildren both got severe burns.
Yeah, I'm gonna be careful with it.
So she wanted to know if the town would consider putting up a waterproof sign to let people know what it was on Green River Road.
Is that something that maybe we should ask the Conservation Commission to do, and then also put a picture of it on the website, just as?
Sure.
I'm just thinking it makes sense to put it just in regular notification for people on the website.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's loaded with it. There's a bunch of it on Heinsberg Road, a bunch down on River Road. There's
Because I think to post it on every
Yeah.
single spot might be a
you
little
can't.
excessive.
Is it an invasive?
yes, it is.
Maybe,
I will contact the Conservation
yeah,
Commission.
I mean, not like, I feel like, not to shirk our duties, but I think they would know more about this and make some recommendation to the town.
Well, and I mean, I think that's a good idea to have them make a recommendation, but one of the things they've been wanting to do is put up information about invasives on the website,
Yep.
and they've been hit with some resistance. So maybe there's something we can make that happen,
Yeah, that's a great
and
suggestion.
have a tab or something that allows the Conservation Commission to post things like invasives, and maybe even put it on the first page under whatever news, or I forget what we put, like new
Yeah.
items.
So, the other thing is, the July 1st is the deadline for the Gazette.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be good to have a drawing of this in the Gazette, if they would just, an announcement, because that gets to every household in Guilford.
Okay.
That's better.
So if you could call Don McLean or Lisa Ford or something, and just ask them to save a block and come up with a warning.
And I bet the Conservation Commission has pictures of this in their drawing.
Yeah, Evelyn McLean, my sister, is on the editorial board, as is, Susan Bonthran and Lisa. And
Right. So I just think if we can make sure that Peter will get this done
I will do that this week.
tomorrow, so that we can cover the issue on multiple
I've seen
fronts, I
that.
think.
Yeah, it's all over.
Okay.
That's
So-
in my dooryard.
And will you thank whoever it was that phoned
I
for
will.
bringing this to our attention?
Yep, I have the individual's phone number, and I'll give her a
Excellent,
call.
thank you so much.
The last piece of, and I've got a large amount of paperwork here.
Thank you.
You're welcome to look at it if you wish, but received communication from the Windham Regional Commission this week that apparently a new solar photovoltaic system is going to be put up down near the Gaines farm, and that they are applying to the state for a wetlands alteration permit. Normally, For certain size installations, they're mandated by law to notify both the town as well as the commission of this. But due to its size, they were not mandated to. Out of courtesy, they did contact Windham Regional, and Alyssa Sabeto contacted me to let the town know that it is going in, and that there's going to, well, not necessarily going in, but they have applied to put it in, and are applying to potentially alter part of the wetlands down on the Gaines Farm.
And Jackie is clearly aware of this. This is the same Sovereign Solar
That's correct.
group that put the installation on Will Wallace's
That's correct.
and his wife's property. I'm blanking on her name right now. It's Peter Thurl. So, okay, so we're just being advised that this is going to go up, and it's
Yep.
less than an acre.
And there
up to the
is,
size of an acre.
it's up to the size of 1 acre, and there is, Alyssa did notify me that there is a 30-day comment period from the time that the Public Service Board accepts the application, which we do not know if they have accepted the application yet. So the comment period, as of this week, the comment period has not begun yet. But that is open to everyone in the public to comment on.
And do we know if they are, this is energy that will be sold outside of Guilford or to Guilford residents?
I do not know the nature of it.
Just trying to see if it says anything in the application here.
The main information was regarding the wetlands alteration permit.
I'll look, but thank you. Any questions? Does anyone want to, could I have a motion to go into executive session at 7:22?
I'll move to go into executive session pursuant to 1 VSA section 313A3, and invite Dan and Peter.
Second.
Thank you, Gordon. All in favor?
Aye.
So we will go into executive session at 7:22. Thank you. So we are coming out of executive session at 7:44. No decisions made, no actions to take. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting
So moved.
Second.
at 7:44. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Brandon, thank you.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank you so
and
much.
thank you for participating with us so easily.
No,